hands down stress, like just right off the top. If we could get everybody working on stress management and self-care and quality sleep, that would probably take care of 90% of the problems, right? Um, but other than that, exercise tends to be a really big trigger. And there's a couple of reasons for that because of the spikes in our catecholamine neurotransmitters, which are our stress neurotransmitters. So we tend to get spikes in our adrenaline and noradrenaline when we're exercising, which is good. It's a good thing. But for a migraineur, the spikes can actually trigger a migraine, and the withdrawal after they're done exercising can trigger a migraine. So that can be, that's another kind of neurotransmitter piece that's not really affected to serotonin, but we need to be looking at their catecholamines and see, all right, are they having an epinephrine norepinephrine problem? It can also be related to energy output of their cells from a mitochondrial standpoint. So a lot of people haven't heard about this connection, but there is new data that shows that mitochondria, which is the energy productor or production piece of the cell that gives our cells the ability to function, that people with chronic migraine, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, things like that they actually have a low mitochondrial output. So whenever I see, them being physically active, even if it's not exercise, but it's like they do, 15 minutes worth of chores because they're feeling well enough to do it, and then suddenly they're down and out with a migraine, that's not really enough to trigger that epinephrine norepinephrine response. That's probably a lack of energy production. So then we want to focus in on mitochondrial support, which can make a huge difference in people with chronic migraine if they're not producing enough energy at a cellular level, because the brain needs so much energy, right? And so if it's not getting enough energy, it feels like it's dying. And then when that happens, it goes into fight or flight mode. And then suddenly we've got this cascade of events that you can't stop. So that's another piece. And then I often see diet. There's a lot of dietary triggers out there, which kind of stems back more, not necessarily to the diet, although we have to have a clean anti-inflammatory whole foods diet for sure. But it's not, if you react to a ton of foods, then there's probably something else going on from a gut standpoint. So we really want to look at that. And then time of day is a big one, because of some of the circadian rhythm pieces that our body puts out hormones at certain times. And sometimes the ups and downs of those fluctuations will be a trigger. So if it's triggered at the same time every day, we want to take a look at, all right, is it a cortisol issue? Is there something going on from a thyroid standpoint? Is there something going on from a hormone standpoint that we need to address? And then the last of my top five would be weather. And so this one, people feel like, well, dang it, like there's nothing I can do about this. And that's actually really incorrect, because weather triggers are usually a result of serotonin drops, because low pressure systems will drop our serotonin physiologically. That's one of the reasons why I think SAD is so prevalent, seasonal affective disorder, where you get really depressed in the winter. When we have
Huh?
so many storms coming in, our serotonin levels are so low. I think that is
I had
possibly a
no idea.
component. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Interesting.
So if we work on supporting serotonin via diet, so by doing things like eating healthy, good whole grain carbs and other foods that can boost our serotonin levels, you can actually ride out a storm without the need for any medication. And then there's things like 5-HTP and melatonin that can also help to support during, big storm pieces. And so that's actually one of the easiest of the migraine triggers to treat, because it's physiologically, it's just about supporting that serotonin.
Direct cause and effect. That's
Yeah.
so fascinating.